Hey gang, in this video I'm going to give you 3 tips on how you can get an 800 credit score. Hey gang, I'm Rob. If you've ever been to the channel before, welcome back. If you've never been, I'm Rob. Good to meet you. I appreciate it if you would subscribe and like this video. So the all illustrious 800 credit score is what you're looking for. So it took me about 10 to 15 years to actually reach the point to where I got an 800 credit score. I actually received the 800 today. I'm hoping that these 3 tips that I give you is going to allow you to get a 300 credit score as well. So let's get straight into it. First tip, pay them damn people. So if you owe any creditors, if you have any debts, make sure that you pay those debts. Make sure that you pay those people. So if you got repossessions, try to reach out to the collection agency. Make sure that you reach out to the credit bureaus and try and get these things expunged and removed from your credit report, especially big things like bankruptcies, repossessions. And the easiest thing usually to get off your credit score is late bills and stuff like that. You can usually settle something with the creditor or the debt collections place where you can actually get that paid off and actually wiped off of your credit. So I'm about to tell you, I haven't never had a bankruptcy or a repossession. And if you're watching this video and you haven't had one either, I would advise that you never fucking have one, right? Because I've heard that those are super hard to get off of your credit report. So another tip inside this tip, when you want to pay those people, make sure that you have a good payment history, right? You want to make sure that you have a good track record with companies, right? You want to make sure that you pay those people every time on time, right? One big ding or one big thing when it comes to your credit is your payment history, right? If your payment history is fucked up, that's how creditors look at you. Okay, can I actually trust this guy or this girl to pay this money back? But if for the last couple of years you be late, every month or every other month, and I'm like, okay, we can pretty much expect that this person is not trustworthy, this person is not responsible. Just remember that your credit report is kind of like your report card as an adult, right? And that's what businesses and companies are going to look at when it comes to your credit worthiness. Should we even get this motherfucker this money? Because we don't know if we're actually going to get this money back. Number 2 is something I already said. Make sure that you pay your credit cards every month on time, and make sure that you do not just pay the minimum balance. If you are paying the minimum balance on your credit cards, you're getting charged interest. Okay, you can charge interest. Make sure that if you have the ability to, that you're paying off the entire balance, so you don't have any interest occurring every month. But if at least make sure if your fucking minimum payment is $40, make sure you at least paying double that. Okay, make sure that you're paying it on time and that you're paying more than the minimum payment. If you're paying just the minimum payment, most likely hardly none of that shit is going to the principal. Most of that is getting eaten up by interest. Okay, so I know a lot of us that may be in or come from a certain environment may not be used to things like this, may not know about shit like this, kind of look at credit cards as magic money, or I just buy this shit and I don't know, if it get paid, it get paid, if it don't, it don't. Just understand that if your parents put shit in your name, if your cousins put shit in your name, if whoever put something in your name and it fucked up your credit, you're probably feeling it right now. If you try to go get a home loan, if you try to go get a car loan, if you either gonna get denied for the loan or you're gonna have a high ass interest rate. All right, just remember, let's look at it like this. If you get a loan for $1,000, right? Get a loan for $1,000 damn, and the interest rate is 20%. That means that you're gonna have to pay $1,200 instead of having to pay $1,000, and that amount goes up depending on how much money you have, right? So if you're paying 20% on $20,000, $40,000, $60,000, or $100,000, you get the gist of it, right? So just make sure that you're paying the amount that you need to pay every month, and a lot more, right? So me, for one, I try not to carry a balance on my credit cards. Praises to the Most High, I'm in the position now to where I literally don't even really use my credit cards. I use my credit cards. Actually, it's going to be in a tip later on as to why I still have credit cards open if I don't really use my credit cards like that, and that'll be a bonus tip, okay? So make sure that you're paying it on time. Make sure that you're paying more than the minimum balance, and this is actually going to tie in with the next tip. So number 3, you need to make sure that you keep your credit utilization under 30%. You need to keep your credit utilization under 30%. What does that mean? Whatever your available credit is, it needs to be as high as it can possibly be, right? So your debt to credit ratio impacts your credit score a lot. I've been on this damn video too long without saying, hey man, I'm not a credit repairer, I'm not a fiduciary, I'm not a financial advisor. This is the shit I've done that helped me, and I think it can help you too. But take all this stuff with a grain of salt. You know, everybody's situation is different, you know, depending on the choices that you made in life. And like I said, if your mama put something in your name, your daddy put something in your name, you know, everybody got different situations. But with hard work, everybody can get this 800 credit score, I think. And another thing I would say is don't pay nobody for this shit, man. I see all these fucking credit repair businesses and credit, all the shit they doing is the shit you can do for yourself. But if you want to get them people your money, and it's obviously money that you don't have, because if you had the money, your fucking credit wouldn't be fucked up. But anyway, back to what I was saying. Make sure that you keep your utilization under 30%. All right, so keep it under 30%, because that's kind of like the golden rule for most of the credit bureaus. They want to see less than 30% credit utilization. Anything over that, they're gonna think that you over leveraged. Okay. Now me, I try to keep mine around 15%. Right. So whatever credit cards you have, you need to look at the max balance. Right. If the max balance is $1,000, you should look at it like you only have a max balance of $300. And I'm only using, you know, round numbers because it's simple math. I don't want nobody to have a fucking seizure watching this. So if you have $1,000, you'll have a maximum of $300 available, right? Makes sense? So that's 30%, but you even want to stay below that. That's why in one of my previous videos, I'll link it in the description, and if not, just go back to the channel on how you need to increase your spending limits, right? You got to increase your spending limits on your credit card so you have more of a gap, right? So instead of having $300 or what I say $300 to mess around with, you can bump it up to more, you know, depending on how much you have in available credit. But just make sure that your credit utilization is under 30% across the board. And the easiest way to do that, just make sure that all your damn cards is under 30%, right? So those are the 3 tips that I use to get an 800 credit score. Now these are some supplemental tips. Start using your credit card for everyday purchases, right? This is just one way to kind of get you in a routine of paying your shit off. Use it for the shit that you're gonna buy anyway, not for extra stuff, not for the Gucci flip-flops, not for the iPhone 13 Pro, none of that. Use it for groceries, gas, Netflix, stuff that you're gonna buy anyway. So start using your credit card as if it was your debit card and pay the shit off every day or every week, okay? That'll get you in a routine, and that'll get you disciplined enough to have more credit. And another thing is, if creditors start seeing like you're not carrying a balance, you buying shit and you paying it off, you buying shit, you paying it off, you buying shit, you paying it off. A lot of times, if you do that for about 6 months, you can call them and say, hey man, can I get a credit increase? And they'll ask you, you know, your shit might be $1,000, you might ask for $5, but they'll give you $3 or $2,500, which is better than nothing. So that's another tip. Make sure that you're reaching out to your creditors at least once or twice a year, because I think it's some kind of, drop that in the comments if you know, it's some kind of, they can only increase it a certain amount of times a year. So just make sure that you're reaching out at least once or twice. For example, I got a card. It's one of my longest opening credit cards, and I want to say that's probably about 7-8 years old. I probably started out with like $5,000 on that motherfucker as a maximum limit. Now it's over 40 grand for spending limit, but I would never put fucking 40 grand on it, right? So just remember, be disciplined. The credit is not free money, right? A lot of credit cards now, the fucking interest rate is over 20%. All right, so make sure that you paying attention to interest rate is not free money. A lot of times it's a lot better to just pay for something with cash. And if you do pay with it for credit, make sure that you have discipline. That's why I use credit cards. The only reason I use credit cards is because I'm a rewards junkie, man. Like I want the fucking rewards. And that's another thing. If you're lucky enough to get a credit card with a reward system, you pretty much get paid for buying shit that you're gonna buy anyway. But like I said, make sure that you're not running it up getting rental cars or running up, getting fucking designer clothes or running up, getting some other kind of bullshit. Make sure that you're using that credit card. Now, like I said, it's a wonderful thing in an emergency. You ain't got the cash, you can't figure it out. Okay, damn, I got 40 grand and I can just, figure something out. But that's like, I don't know what kind of emergency I would have where that shit would happen, but at least you have a little bit of a cushion. Like, I literally don't use my credit cards. If I ain't got the money, I ain't got the money, right? Praise to the Most High, I always got the money now. But yeah, just make sure that you do what you need to do. Be disciplined. Use those 3 tips. Keep me updated and the rest of your family in the comments updated on what your journey is, what your score is right now. Then every year, every couple months, make sure that you. And another thing, you can hop on Experian.com. I'm not affiliated with them, but hop on Experian.com and they'll give you a free report every month on what your score is. Okay. Hopefully that helped you. Make sure that you like this video, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.